I'll tell you this, my lord, though I wouldn't want everybody to know about it. Mercy and I were so violently assaulted between the wicket gate and arriving here that we cried out murder, and the two who assaulted us looked like the two I saw in my dream. The interpreter said, "Your beginning is good, and near the end you shall increase greatly." He turned and addressed Mercy, and in the same way asked her, "And what moved you to come here, dear one?" Mercy blushed and trembled and stood silent for a while, for she didn't know what to say because her experience was so different from Christiana's. The interpreter encouraged her and said, "Don't be afraid. Only believe and speak your mind." She took a deep breath, let it out slowly, and said, "Truly, sir, my lack of experience is what makes me want to be silent. This lack also fills me with fears of coming short at the end. I can't tell you about visions and dreams like my friend Christiana can, nor do I know what it is to weep, because I refused the advice of good relatives." "What is it then, dear heart?" the interpreter asked. "What is it that made you do what you have done?" "Why, it was when our friend here was packing up to leave our town," Mercy motioned toward Christiana. "It just so happens that I and another of our neighbors happened to stop by to see her at that time. We knocked at the door and went into the house. As soon as we did, we saw her preparing to leave and asked what she was doing. She told us she had been sent for to come join her husband. She explained how she had seen him in a dream, living in an unusual place among immortals, wearing a crown, playing a harp, eating and drinking at his prince's table, and singing praises to him for bringing him there. While she was telling us these things, my heart burned within me. I thought, if this is true, I will leave my father and my mother and the land of my birth, and, if I may, I will go along with Christiana. Where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Ruth chapter 1, verse 16. So I asked her more about the truth of these matters, and whether or not she would let me go with her, for I recognized there was no longer any way to live in our town without the danger of ruin. But as I walked away from our town, I did so with a heavy heart, not because I was unwilling to leave, but because I grieved for the many relatives I was leaving behind. But I came along with all the desire of my heart, and will go, if I may, with Christiana to her husband and his king." The interpreter said, "You have started out well, for you have given credit to the truth. You are a Ruth, who, because she loved Naomi and the Lord her God, left her father and mother and the land of her birth to come out and go with a people she didn't previously know. The Lord compensate your work, and a full reward be given to you from the Lord God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to trust. All that you have done for your mother-in-law after the death of your husband has been fully reported to me, and how you left your father and your mother and the land of your birth and came to a people that you did not previously know. May the Lord reward your work, and your wages be full from the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to seek refuge." Ruth chapter 2, verses 11 and 12. When they finished eating and were getting ready for bed, the women were in their own room and the boys by themselves in another room. When Mercy climbed into bed, she could not sleep because she was so excited and full of joy. For now that all her doubts had finally been removed, she lay in the bed, blessing and praising God, who had showed her such favor. In the morning, they arose with the sun and prepared to leave, but the interpreter wanted them to linger a while longer. "For you must go forth in an orderly manner." Then he said to the young woman innocent who had opened the door to them when they first arrived, "Take them into the garden, to the bath, and there wash them, and make them clean from the soil which clings to them from travelling." Innocent did as she was told, and led the pilgrims into the garden to the bath. She told them that they must wash there and become clean, for her master wanted the women to do that, and then to come back to his house before going on pilgrimage. The women went in and washed, and the boys did the same, and all came out of that bath sweet smelling and clean, and much invigorated and strengthened. When they walked back into the house, they looked much better than when they went out to wash. When they returned from the garden bath, the interpreter took them and looked at each one of them. He smiled his approval and said, "Fair as the moon." Then he called for the seal with which those who were washed in his bath used to be sealed. So the seal was brought, and he set his mark upon them, so they might be known in the places where they were yet to go. Now the seal was the substance and the sum of the Passover, which the children of Israel ate when they came out of the land of Egypt. And it shall serve as a sign to you on your hand, and as a reminder on your forehead, that the law of the Lord may be in your mouth. For with a powerful hand the Lord brought you out of Egypt. Exodus chapter 13, verse 9. At that time the mark was set between their eyes, and was a seal that greatly added to their beauty, like an ornament for their faces. It also added to their earnestness, and made their countenance more like that of angels. Then the interpreter spoke again to the young woman who waited upon these women, and said, "Go into the vestry, and select garments for these people." She fetched white apparel for each one of them, and laid them down before the interpreter. Then he commanded the pilgrims to put the fine white clean linen garments on. When the women were dressed in this way, they seemed to be a terror to each other, for neither could see the glory each other one had in herself, but they could see it in each other. Because of this, they began to honor each other more than themselves. "For you are fairer than I am," said one, while the other said, "You are more becoming than I am." The children also stood amazed to see what garments they were brought.